Yes, hello. I am playing Neverwinter, and I've happened upon an interesting topic that I've wandered into. It's the idea of enthusiasm and momentum in an MMO deciding its shelf life, and how communities are composed of individuals. And ultimately, an individual will hit a point where they assess their situation and, from a personal perspective, whether or not they want to play the game. And it's kind of. MMOs are a very weird kind of video game. It almost seems like it's all about preventing the MMOer from realizing the situation that they're in, just keeping them in that genjutsu, basically. And I think it's something that MMO companies, don't really understand. It's because think of it this way: a jarring experience causes you to wake up and realize the situation that you're in. So if you're all cozy with your situation and you're just cruising along, and then something really jarring happens, then you'll stop and assess what you've been doing. And if you then... And there you go. That's just what I want to get into your head. So what are the stuff that cause you to have a jarring experience that causes you to wake up and the momentum is halted, and that's all throttled? Well, it's surprisingly common. A bad patch that changes the way your character plays halts that momentum. A menu system that all of a sudden takes a lot of priority over the gameplay. Loot boxes and cash shops. That stuff is really jarring. And it could actually be even smaller things, like really jarring sound effects. Anything unimmersive. It kind of makes sense why people talk about immersion so much in MMOs. It's because that's what keeps the momentum going. It keeps the enthusiasm satisfied. Enthusiasm. So, the idea is, how do you make an MMO that does not disturb that momentum? How do you keep it rolling? First off, you gotta have a smooth gameplay that takes you from A to B, but at the same time, is you gotta let the player make their own choices. If they're just on a railroad track, they go to one place and then the next and the next, and they're like, oh, I'm not playing a game, I'm not making any decisions. And so that somehow also makes them assess their situation. Once they realize that they're not doing their thing, they think, oh, well, I want to do something. And so they start looking around. That's also jarring. Realizing you aren't doing anything is jarring after a while. So how do you get the player to want to make decisions? How do you get the player to be curious?
Yes, adventurer?
Give me a second.
I'm telling you, it's just paper in here. This is such a dumb trade for you.
Yeah, it's just curiosity is important.
What do you want?
Making decisions in an MMO is very important. So to me,
This is not a great smell, but there's a ton of centipedes in there, so that's
There
a
is?
plus. Let me fill out your forms and you can head to our local headquarters in Protector's Enclave. I'll message them to let them know you're coming. Then you can start your orientation course. Good luck.
yeah, that's just an idea I fell upon, and you know what? I'll just leave it there for it to be expanded upon, something nice to think about, and I'll think about it for a while, and just if I come up with something, I'll turn this camera back on. It's just I've realized, why in the world do I dislike Guild Wars 2? Why am I, like, there's just so, I've played so many MMOs, but stopped playing them so early, and my theory is because the momentum was halted, and that enthusiasm was broken. That's why, I don't know why I didn't enjoy so many MMOs. Quest log is starting to seem like a bad decision to me, because the quest log tells me what to do. And the compass seems like a bad decision. The compass tells me where to go. The map, having a map almost seems like a bad decision, because it tells me where I am in relation to it. If I have to look at the map and it doesn't show where I am, but instead I have to look at the terrain, make a decision, and pick like 3 spots where I might be, and then confirm that suspicion, and then make a decision where I need to go based on what the NPCs said, and figure out how to navigate to that point without a compass telling me where to walk, I think that would be a decision-making process that would make me curious. Be like, where am I? Where is the objective? How do I get there? Why should I even be interested in this? What am I going to get out of this? What's my decision? That's a curiosity of necessity, and that is very missing in MMOs nowadays. Modern MMOs don't have that. You're on a railroad track, in a sense, in modern MMOs. And that's what makes it such a fragile industry. And from an extension of that, that's what makes the community so fragile. Just something to think about.